before you're trying another tactic or another strategy to get a promotion or to get another job or to get your children to mind you or to have that connection that you really desire with your spouse, you need to stop and take a real honest inventory about what you think about, what you talk about, what you watch, and how you feel. Well, hello there, prosperity seeker. Welcome to another episode of The Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and always I am thrilled and honored and thank you for listening in or watching in today. I am really excited to share with you the main ingredient in successful manifesting in this episode. But first, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, be sure that you're following the podcast on your favorite app. And to see what we're up to, you can join us over at AllysonChavez.com, where we have lots of freebies and meditations and great resources to help you redesign your reality. Successful manifesting requires a very certain foundation to it. There is a main ingredient to successful manifesting that most people are missing. Most people will wait for circumstances to change before they really feel like they can change their circumstances. If you're an ambitious, driven woman like I know you are, and you have this mission that you feel you're called to share with your family or with the world or who you want to become, we tend to get a little forceful about what it is that we want. And we start what I like to call pushing the river. And either of those approaches, whether we're, just sitting around feeling powerless by our circumstances, or if we're like, to heck with that, I'm not going to let my circumstances define me. And we're not standing for this for 1 second longer. And then you just get into a whole bunch of like massive action without, sometimes there's a plan to it, but a lot of times I call it using matter to change matter instead of using energy to change matter. And it's a whole lot easier to use energy to change matter than it is to just try to change things by blunt force or just by your sheer grit and determination. And I know this because for years, that's how I changed my circumstances, which was sheer grit and determination. And it was exhausting. And it was unfulfilling. And I felt like a worn out rag most of the time because I was not in the proper energy. And I was, more than anything, not in the proper state of mind. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit. You've got to change your state of mind or your state of being. It's the key to changing your circumstances. But really, how do you do that? So here's the thing. I'm like you. I love vision boards. I love empty lists where I can fill in with future clients. But before you get in another vision board, before you put up a poster and, slap other people's faces on there that represent all of these clients and people's lives that you're going to affect, or before you're trying another tactic or another strategy to get a promotion or to get another job or to get your children to mind you or to have that connection that you really desire with your spouse, you need to stop and take a real honest inventory about what you think about, what you talk about, what you watch, and how you feel. What drama do you immerse yourself in all day long? Because you're addicted to drama. We're all addicted to drama. But what drama are you participating in? Are you participating in the drama of the doomsday? Or are you participating in the drama of infinite possibilities? Two totally different experiences, two totally different states of mind, and two completely different results and experiences, depending on which drama you're immersing yourself in. Neville Goddard said this: rain falls as a result of a change in the temperature in the higher regions of the atmosphere. So, in like manner, a change of circumstances happens as a result of a change in your state of consciousness. Very, very true. In order to change our circumstances, what we first must change is us. And actually, that's all we need to change is us. That's all, right? It's so easy to change yourself, right? Well, when you break it down and you take little bite-sized pieces with changing what you're thinking about, what you talk about, what you watch, the drama that you're immersing yourself in, then it actually gets really, really fun. You start feeling more and more powerful, really long before anything dramatic happens in your circumstances or in your family, your relationships or your body or anything like that. But those outer changes don't matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters are those inner shifts. And you must shift your consciousness. You've got to shift from one state of being to another in order to consistently and successfully manifest. And I really prefer to talk about co-creating rather than manifesting. Manifesting is a big old buzzword out in the community. And so, yeah, we can talk about manifesting, but what I have found more often than not is that people are just trying the next like really quick fix to manifesting. It's like the get manifesting fast scheme. And they don't really understand what it is that they did. They just know that they thought about it and then they forgot about it and then it happened. But that's manifesting by default. And it's very hard to stay consistent when you do that. But when you take that next step beyond just manifesting and you start becoming part of a co-creative process, you start getting really interested about what you're doing and why you're doing it. You start getting really interested about what your thoughts are and what you're pulled to, what you feel compelled to watch, or the conversations you have, or the people that you hang out with, or the meaning that you give different situations. And it's really important, especially, well, no matter where you are in this journey of becoming and this journey of creating and redesigning your reality, I like to call it, it's really important that you stay just observant. Massive awareness with zero judgment, because as women, we were born with this internal beat up stick. And we compare ourselves to the ideal person and the ideal woman. And we always, always fall short, as we always will. And so then we just pummel ourselves all day long. Now, the really awesome thing about men is they did not come with this. So they don't have this internal beat up stick going on all day, but women do. And so that's why I really hammer into my clients and anybody I'm talking to, you got to be in massive awareness with zero judgment and just curiosity about what's going on rather than judgment, because judgment puts us in blame, which is a form of victimhood. Judgment strips us from all of our power. Judgment, and I'm talking about self-judgment here, it makes us afraid to take risks or afraid to get it wrong and afraid to make mistakes. And then Little Miss Perfect comes out. As women, we call it perfectionism. I'm a perfectionist, as if that's just this really wonderful thing, which perfectionism can be. Perfectionism makes you really aware of the details, and that's really important in things like contracts and accounting and really in an atmosphere. If you're a designer, those details are really important in how you want the room to feel or the building to feel or look. But what we do with perfectionism, if you do resonate as a perfectionist, you don't use it as a tool, you use it as a weapon. And you weaponize it against yourself. And if it's not going to be perfect the first time, you're not going to do it. Or if it's not even going to be good the first time, you're not going to do it. So that's why it's really important that you go at this with curiosity rather than judgment of any kind. And perfectionism is judgment of a certain kind. And so you just want to be curious and just observant, because you got to get a baseline of where you're at, regardless of where you're leveling up in your life and where you want to redesign your reality. You've got to be curious and interested to close gaps in your thinking, in what you're attracted to, in the conversations that you like to have. You got to be curious and then interested to close those gaps, because if you want to be masterful at co-creating, You got to get really, really masterful at being in great awareness, but zero judgment, lots and lots of curiosity. Now, this is the best time ever to start practicing this because we've got a lot of drama going on a global scale. And so the mass thinking and consciousness of the planet is fear and powerlessness and rage and anger and massive amounts of judgment and so much victimhood, and we can understand all of that. We can absolutely understand all of that. However, that's not going to get you out of your current situation by continually feasting on that. You must change your state of mind. You must change your state of consciousness. And it's really, really easy to do. It's really, really simple to do. It's not easy at the start, but it gets easier and easier the more you practice. It's very, very simple to do. It's understanding that who you are today cannot get you to where you want to go. All of the things that you've immersed yourself in have got you right to where you are, and not all of it is crap. So don't be worried about that. Like, I'm not talking to somebody who like lives her life out of the gutter. Like, I'm talking to somebody who's got a pretty darn good life, but knows that it can be better, and knows that she is the linchpin, but she's not quite sure how she's the key to turn the lock and what to do to be the key to turn the lock. And this is one of the things that you do. There are lots of moving pieces to co-creation, but this one is one of the funnest pieces of co-creation, and it's certainly the most empowering and the most powerful. If you're in worry or fear or any of those, lower thoughts and lower vibrations about your current situation, you got to stop. Because it's just going to perpetuate more of the same, because physical circumstances are just an outer reflection of what you've immersed yourself in internally. And so you got to do the exact opposite. And I understand that this can be tricky because energy is contagious. Energy in our family, energy from the internet, energy from our neighbors, everywhere. Energy is really contagious, both negative and positive energy. And it really lends into what Napoleon Hill said. 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, he said this, and I'm going to do a direct quote from him and then give you my little adaptation. Poverty is attracted to the one whose mind is favorable to it, as money is attracted to him whose mind has been deliberately prepared to attract it. And through the same laws, poverty consciousness will voluntarily seize the mind which is not occupied with the money consciousness. A poverty consciousness develops without conscious application of habits favorable to it. You don't need it. You're conditioned to think and struggle. The money consciousness must be created to order. So I don't really talk to people who are struggling with poverty, which means it's not that I'm not going to talk to you because I'm better than you, because I don't believe that at all. And I would never do that. But my message does not resonate with people who are in poverty consciousness because there is so much stuff involved with that. I'm talking to the woman who is wanting to grow her wealth consciousness, but is in a lot of struggle, who's in the struggle consciousness. And to get out of the struggle consciousness and into the ease consciousness, you have to deliberately prepare your mind to attract the ease, to attract the success, to attract the redesign. This is what I mean by using energy to change matter, which I absolutely loved. I heard that from Joe Dispenza and have just adopted it as my own. I love that saying. We've been taught to use matter to change matter, which is the work harder and then work smarter, not harder, and look at tactics and look at strategies and analyze everything. And yeah, you can get your circumstances to change, but man, that journey is arduous. Man, it's filled with so many potholes and so much fear. When you use energy to change matter, this is where you stop micromanaging the journey. This is where you start loving the journey, because you start understanding how enormously powerful you are in really, really wonderful ways, and how much incredible influence you have to change your circumstances. So struggle and the yeah, but mind is attracted to the person whose mind is favorable to the yeah buts, and this is why it's not going to work, and the struggle, and I got to do it all on my own. But money and success and it's prosperity to me. It's not just the money, it's prosperity in all areas of your life is attracted to the mind who has been deliberately prepared to attract it. And the way you start preparing yourself is taking that inventory and then starting to shift. You've heard all the things like focus on what you want. And we go immediately into, yeah, but it's so hard because of all of the things that are going on that I don't want. Yeah, there's things that I do want that are happening and I like that, but there's so much going on that I would rather not have happen. And so we got to get out of those yeah buts and start easing yourself into that feeling of expansion and into like, what are you immersing yourself in? Are you letting yourself play? Are you going into pleasure? Are you reading things that are uplifting? Are you watching things that are uplifting? Start taking that inventory and then shifting, just making nice little shifts. Your spirit will say, thank you. Oh man, thank you so much. We can get all this dirt and all this crud off of us. Thank you so much, because light is so much easier to carry than darkness. The lightness of expansion, the lightness of peace, the lightness of optimism, the lightness of joyful expectation lights you up. It gives you more energy instead of the darkness of doubt and disbelief and impatience. And when is this going to end? So the key here is not to change really anything except you and how you feel. And that's the start to redesigning your reality and becoming a masterful co-creator. Now, I'm going to be spending a whole day on this. How do you change your perspective in life when evidence is piling against you? How do you get out of that struggle and that suffering and get into that ease and that flow and that expansion? And I'm doing a free 3-day online workshop called Redesign Your Reality. And we're going to spend a whole day on that particular subject. Is the key to successful manifesting. I'm actually going to give you 3 really powerful keys to successful manifesting, and this is one of them. So come join us for that. You're going to get a playbook that's going to walk you through the whole thing. It's going to be an invaluable resource to you during the workshop and after. It's all done live, so I can answer any questions that you have in real time. And to register for that, you're going to go to prosperityapproach.com/workshop, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. And until then, remember, prosperity becomes you.